What is up, wrestling fans? What is up, wrestling fans? Smackdown Stu here on the Smackdown Stu YouTube channel. And today I'm actually doing something a little bit different. I'm also streaming on the Meet Me app. You can look me up, Stu Hot to Handle. I'm also streaming, like I said, on the Meet Me app. But we're right here on YouTube with another edition of the Smackdown Stu Report for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. If you want to send an email, you can email me at smackdownstewchannel@gmail.com. You can comment on the comment here on YouTube, um, and tell me that you're watching the channel, and uh, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment. You can also check out the SmackDown Stew Facebook page, the SmackDown Stew YouTube channel Facebook page. Um, and of course, you can see John Cena behind me. I'm going to move over. You can see John Cena, the champ, behind me. Of course, the Hulk Hogan T-shirt right behind me as well. And we're going to start it off. There's some breaking news today about the death of Hulk Hogan. This morning, news broke from Brooke Hogan, his daughter, that there's police body cam footage of a occupational therapist who was at the house that day, who told police that Hulk Hogan's phrenic nerve was severed. And so Brooke was waiting to see what was going on. She was waiting to see if she can get her hands on the footage. And it was then breaking this afternoon. TMZ reached out to Hulk Hogan's wife or widow, Sky. And she said an autopsy was done on Hulk Hogan. She doesn't have the results, but the phrenic nerve issue has been known for a while, that the phrenic nerve was compromised, not necessarily severed, but compromised. So what the phrenic nerve is, it's a nerve in the human body responsible for controlling the diaphragm. It's a primary muscle of breathing. So it originates from the cervical spinal nerve, C3 to C5, and descends through the neck to the chest to reach the diaphragm, allowing the diaphragm to contract, allowing the lungs to expand. So if that is compromised, you have trouble breathing. So that's what could have caused the him to stop breathing. And if it was a while, he had neck surgery in May, so it could have been a complication of that said neck surgery back in May. And if that happened, was he being treated for it? Because there's certain treatments that could happen. They could do a regeneration of the nerve. There's also bypass, where they take a nerve from your leg and bypass it. There's a few things. Was he receiving treatment? That we don't know. That could have been a factor in him stopping breathing. Was there something that he moved? Did it compromise even more? That's why back and neck surgery, they're very, very delicate, and they're very, very risky, because one touch of a nerve, you can be paralyzed. You can not be able to breathe. You can, the neck or the back, you can be either a quadriplegic or a paraplegic. It's very, very risky, and I'm sure he knew the risks, but how badly it was compromised, we don't know. But that would answer the question as to why he was taken from the hospital in a hospital bed, and like he was taken, and you had a hospital bed in his house to recover, and that's why Bubba the Love Sponge said he couldn't speak. Bischoff said he spoke to him, but he was weak, and he couldn't talk very well because he couldn't breathe very well. So that's the breaking news about Hulk Hogan. That nerve is very important in the body. And so if that was compromised, that could be a factor. And of course, you have to tell the police. So is it medical malpractice? I'm sure the doctors warn him of the risk, but if it is medical malpractice, they could sue. So it's a very complicated procedure. So if you're here, let me know who's watching. Again, I'm live on the on also on Meet Me as well as the SmackDown Stew YouTube channel. If you want to come in the Meet Me stream, you can look me up on the Meet Me app at Stu Hot to Handle, capital S Stu Hot to Handle. But again, that news broke on TMZ when they were talking about something else, and one of Harvey Levin's guys says we just heard from Sky, Hulk Hogan's widow, and that yes, an autopsy was done, and she confirmed that the phrenic nerve was compromised. So we'll have to wait and see if she releases the full autopsy from because because she said she was an accountant, so 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 she basically said she was an accountant, and she doesn't know all these things. So we're waiting to see if she'll release the autopsy, um, and so we will wait and see. Now, that being said, I'll keep you updated on the Hulk Hogan situation. Um, Today, also, I want to take a look at. We're going to look at SummerSlam, and I also want to fill you in on the SmackDown live at the Bell Center 2 weeks ago. I was there with the Becca Monster and Scotty Montana, um, and it was great. It was actually fun. John Cena got a huge ovation. There was a surprise. Sami Zayn, hometown favorite, came and had an impromptu match with Solo Sokoa, and a hi to Kiki on the Meet Me app. I'm streaming live on Meet Me as well as YouTube again. Um, so anyway, that was great. The SmackDown in Montreal, um, and yes, it is. I'm live streaming right here on YouTube and also on the Meet Me platform. So I decided to uh, do both and see how it works. So as I was saying, um, with the Montreal SmackDown uh, live, and I went 2 weeks ago, was great. Like I said, Sami Zayn made an appearance. The main event happened to be, and this was crazy. John Cena was talking and issued a challenge, and then Logan Paul's music hit. That lame ass Logan Paul came out. That set up a tag match. Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre against John Cena and Cody Rhodes, the champion. And it was, yeah, it was a great match. But John Cena, I mean, he did get the pop he deserved at the beginning, but apparently Cody was injured. That was the focus of it, and he ran to the back. Cena, pretending he was going at Logan Paul, which at Clash of the Castle is going to set that up. Logan Paul versus John Cena. Now, there was two dark matches. Bailey was in one of the dark matches, and yeah, one of the dark matches. It was Bailey, and then the other match was the hometown favorite Sami Zayn. He wrestled again against El Grande Americano, which now is being played by Ludwig Kaiser because of the injury to Chad Gable. Now, now, if a special hello to little Gigi, little Jana, who's watching back home. Hi, Jana. So anyway, the SmackDown was pretty great. The dark match, I didn't really stay for the dark match because it was getting late, but it was finished very, very quickly, and Sammy was talking to the crowd, and the sun came. And all in all, it was a great SmackDown taping. It was great. We had fun. Um, I thought maybe Kevin Owens would just make a quick appearance, but he didn't. I thought there would be a tribute to Hulk Hogan in Montreal, but there wasn't. But it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun, and it was great. Hopefully they'll come back. Hopefully they'll get another PLE. Um, so Now, I want to take a look at SummerSlam. SummerSlam, because the history of SummerSlam, because we had usually it's at the end of the month. This year it was at the beginning of the month, and they tried something new. Um, they had they did a 2-day event, but I want to go back into the history of SummerSlam. So what happened was in the mid '80s, the World Wrestling Federation, now WWE, main competition was the NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions, which turned into WCW. And so Vince McMahon counters, of course, Jim Crockett's successful Starrcade with WrestleMania in 1985. And after WrestleMania, Vince McMahon created Survivor Series, which aired on the same day as Starrcade, the WCW's version of WrestleMania, in November of '87. And then he created the Royal Rumble, an event that was free on the USA Network in '88, then became closed circuit and pay per view on the same night as Jim Crockett Promotions' Bunkhouse Stampede. Crockett created the Clash of the Champions, which aired simultaneously with WrestleMania 4. But of course, WrestleMania 4 garnered ratings. So that's how, and that became the big four. WCW's counter when they started having monthly pay per views for SummerSlam was Road Wild. Well, but first it was Hog Wild in 1995, of course, and then it was Road Wild in '96, and it stayed Road Wild, um, which emanated from Sturgis, South Dakota. Yeah, Sturgis, South Dakota, with all the motorcycles, the motorcyclists. An outdoor event, but we're going to take a look at summer. And in '96, Hogan, when he first started the NWO, Hollywood Hulk Hogan won his first WCW championship. Not Hulk Hogan, but Hollywood Hulk Hogan won the WCW championship from the Giant at that Road Wild pay per view, and of course, spray painted it NWO. So, of course, the history of WrestleMania, if we go back, and I'm going to take certain WrestleManias. Um, so we're going to go with the first one was in 1998 on August 29th, 1988. So it was always towards the end of the month, but they moved it to the beginning. It was from Madison Square Garden, of course, in New York City. The main event was the Mega Powers, the Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Um, and the $1 million against the Mega Bucks, the $1 Million Man, and Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant, with special guest referee Jesse the Body Ventura, and of course the Mega Powers won the match. Hogan had to hold Jesse the Body Ventura's hand and make him count to three. The second SummerSlam in 1989, and I have a trivia question for that, emanated from on August 28th, 1989, from East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Brendan Byrne Arena. The main event that night was Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Hulk Hogan taking on Randy Macho Man Savage and Zeus. And the trivia question: who was the play-by-play announcer for SummerSlam '89? Tony Schiavone. He did two pay-per-views in WWF. He did that pay-per-view and the Royal Rumble 1990. He was the play-by-play with Jesse Ventura, and the play-by-play for the SummerSlam in '98, the first ever. It was Gorilla Monsoon, of course, with superstar Billy Graham, because Jesse Body Ventura was a special guest referee in the main event. In 1990, Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan were the play-by-play announcers for the SummerSlam '90, which emanated from the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The main event was the Ultimate Warrior facing Ravishing Rick Rude in a steel cage match for the WWF Championship. 1991 was a big one. It was the match made in heaven and the match made in hell. The match made in heaven being the Macho Man Randy Savage, high hockey on the Meet Me stream. And it was, the Randy Savage versus, it was, I'm sorry, Randy Savage married Elizabeth, kayfabe married Elizabeth on that SummerSlam of 1991, which emanated on August 26, 1991, from New York City, again, Madison Square Garden, where the match made in heaven, Hulk Hogan So the match made in heaven. Randy Macho Man Savage married kayfabe married Elizabeth, and of course, you know what happened. They opened up a gift, and Jake Snake came out. Jake ruined the reception, and in a match made in hell. And I'll tell you a story about that in a moment. Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior took on the in a handicap match the team of Sergeant Slaughter, General Adnan, and Colonel Mustafa in the handicap elimination match with special guest referee Sid Justice, known as Sid Vicious in WCW. And um, hello, Mr. Slamanis 45. Thank you for commenting. Um, and so that's so in that SummerSlam, for me, the match of the night, you know what that was? The match of the night? Bret the Hitman Hart against Mr. Perfect when Bret Hart won his first Intercontinental Championship. What a great match. Two great athletes. That was probably the match of the night. It was great. And the story that I was going to tell you is that that night, the Ultimate Warrior, hot-headed Ultimate Warrior, um, he leveraged Vince McMahon. He threatened him that if McMahon didn't pay him a certain amount of money, I believe, I don't know if it was $25,000 or $50,000, he wouldn't compete in the he wouldn't wrestle that night in the tag match with Hulk Hogan. So when Hulk Hogan heard about that, and McMahon had no choice, he said, "Okay, I'm going to pay the Warrior, Hi Baby Doll, on the Meet Me stream. Again, I'm live on Meet Me with the Smackdown Stew report, and live also on YouTube at the Smackdown Stew YouTube channel." So, anyways, the story goes when Hulk Hogan found out that McMahon was going to pay him and found out what he did, the threat, he went to Sergeant Slaughter and told them what was going on and said when he comes in, beat the shit out of him, beat the crap out of him. And but that didn't happen. And then the Ultimate Warrior was fired after. And yeah, he was fired after, but then WWF and McMahon brought him back for WrestleMania 8 to save Hulk Hogan from Papa Shango and Sid Justice. So, yeah, so we're going to get on to the other SummerSlam. Those of you watching on YouTube after the show, it'll be over. Those of you on Meet Me, I'll continue a live stream on Meet Me for my Meet Me gang. So that was 1991. That was a story. Imagine this guy, this hothead Ultimate Warrior, on the day of the pay-per-view would ruin the main event if he didn't get the money he wanted. That was crazy. But they brought him back multiple times, gave him multiple chances. But and now he passed away, so may rest in peace. He was a talent, but you know. Also, so then we go on to the next one in 1992. That was a big one in Wembley Stadium in London, England, where Bret the Hitman Hart put the Intercontinental title on the line against the British Bulldog, his brother-in-law. There was a storyline. That was the storyline, and I believe of that because Hulk Hogan's sister, Bret Hart's sister was married to the British Bulldog, so they showed there was a rift between the two, and this is where the British Bulldog won the Intercontinental Championship from Bret the Hitman Hart, and I believe they did that because they wanted to push Bret Hart. He was going to win the World Heavyweight title from Ric Flair, so they wanted to get the Intercontinental title off Bret. So they had the Bulldog beat him, and then Shawn Michaels won the Intercontinental title from the British Bulldog. That also had the Legion of Doom versus the Nasty Boys, I believe, for the tag titles. And that was when Hawk was he had gone out and had a few to drink, and he was like kind of under the influence when he was riding the motorcycle to the ring. And but that was a storyline. And I'm sorry, it was a Legion of Doom against Money Inc., which was Ted DiBiase and Erwin R. Shyster. Other notable matches: Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels, Tatanka against the Berserker. The Undertaker defeated Kamala by disqualification. The Warrior defeated Randy Savage by countout. So that was some notable matches. 1993, it was, and of course, I forgot about 1991. The announcers were Gorilla Monsoon along with Roddy Piper and Bobby Heenan, a three-person announce team. 92 was Bret the Hitman Hart and Bobby the Brain Heenan. In 93 was McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. That was live from the Auburn, Michigan, the Palace of Auburn Hills, where the main event was Yokozuna putting the WWF Championship on the line against Lex Luger. That's when Lex Luger had the Lex Express and he became the All American. And they wanted to push him like Hulk Hogan. They wanted to give him that push and have him like Hulk Hogan, be the Hulk Hogan. And there was a story in that too where Lex Luger thought that he was going to win the title. I don't know if he was told um, that that he was told that. What do you mean? What about Bret Hart, Mister Slamenis? He was told, I guess, that he was going to win. He invited his family in because he was expected to win. He asked for tickets for his family, and McMahon changed it and kept the belt on Lex Luger. And he wasn't. He didn't. He was. They tried to make him like Hulk Hogan, but it just didn't work. And so, another real notable matches. Jerry the King Lawler was supposed to face Bret Hart, and uh, he ended up faking a knee injury, so he was replaced by Doink. But he ended up hitting Bret Hart with the crutch. Um, and and I, this was, and then there was other notable matches as well. I know there was Razor Ramon against Ted DiBiase. That's from what I remember. Um, and yeah, and it was Owen Hart against Barry Horowitz. That was in a singles match. The Steiner Brothers and the Heavenly Bodies. Shawn Michaels defeated Mr. Perfect by count out. He defended that title. And I think I know who Mr. Slamanis is. And if I'm right, it's probably hockey. But hockey for my meet me. So what happened was, yeah. So then, yeah, of course, Bret Hart and Doink. Then you had Jerry Lawler again. They forced him to wrestle and defeated Bret Hart by disqualification. And um, and so yeah, Ludwig Borg against Marty Jannetty. The Undertaker faced that beast, Giant Gonzalez, who was terrible. Giant Gonzalez didn't even know how to wrestle. Because he started to have, with his knees because he was so big of the rest in peace match. I guess that's when they wanted to kill the gimmick because Undertaker was talking about having matches with Giant Gonzalez and telling him, you can hit me as hard as you want on the shoulder blade. But he wouldn't listen. He would hit him in other places. So, anyway, that was um, the Survivor SummerSlam 1993. Now, SummerSlam 1994 was unique. It was The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. It was, yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like the podcast. I know who Mr. Slamanis is now. It's Mr. Mingo. Um, um, so you just gave it away with that comment. So it was Bret the Hitman Hart and Owen Hart in a steel cage for the WWF Championship. Bret Hart won, of course, and the main event: The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. One taker had Paul Bearer, and the other had Ted DiBiase. The fake Undertaker had the gray gloves and everything. It was actually Chains from the Disciples of Apocalypse. He was the fake Undertaker. The real Undertaker beat the fake Undertaker in that match. 95 SummerSlam sucked. Actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that 94 was from the United Center in Chicago. 95 was from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, and it was Diesel against Mabel, the King Mabel, and they're trying to push him, but it didn't work, and it actually sucked. Helmsley versus Bob Holly. Hakushi, the modern day Kamikaze, defeated the 1-2-3 Kid. Of course, Barry Horowitz defeated Skip, the Jobber. They made a Jobber to win the match. They were trying to find ideas. You had Bertha Faye with Harvey Whippleman defeated Alondra Blaze for the women's championship. Undertaker defeated Kama, in a casket match, the Supreme Fighting Machine. One of the gimmicks that the Godfather had, he was Papa Shango, then he was Kama, then he was Kama Mustafa, and he became the Godfather with all the hoes in the Hoo trade. Bret Hart defeated Isaac Yankem DDS by disqualification. Isaac Yankem DDS actually went on to be the fake Diesel, and of course, you know him as Kane, Glenn Jacobs. Shawn Michaels defeated Razor Ramon in a ladder match to retain the Intercontinental Championship, and of course, Diesel retained the title against King Mabel, who had Sir Mo in his Sir Mo in his corner. In 1996, it hailed from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. Main event was Shawn Michaels and Vader for the title. They wanted to push Vader, but it didn't happen. He couldn't control his weight, and he was tainted. Mankind, and that was the first ever boiler room brawl, where Mankind defeated the Undertaker when Paul Bearer turned on the Undertaker and refused to give him the urn at the end of the match and hit him with it. Goldust defeated, of course, Mark Merrow. Jerry Lawler defeated Jake the Snake Roberts. There was a tag team match featuring the Smoking Guns with Sonny, the New Rockers, the Godwins, and the Body Donnas. Owen Hart defeated Savio Vega, and of course, Steve Austin defeated Yokozuna. And hello to Buffy on the Meet Me stream. Of course, I'm live on YouTube for the Smackdown Stew report, but also live on Meet Me as well. Decided to do a simulcast here, so we have people watching. And the handle is too hot to handle on Meet Me if you want to come in. We're gonna now in 1997 was a crucial SummerSlam. Bret Hart, The Undertaker versus Bret Hart. Bret Hart won the title after Shawn Michaels, the special guest referee, hit the Undertaker over the head with a chair intended for Bret Hart. That gave that setting up Survivor Series where Bret Hart defended the title against Shawn Michaels, and you know what happened with the screw job. This SummerSlam '97 took place from the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. In '98, the main event was Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Of course, in '97, which I forgot to mention, there was that ladder match with The Rock and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H. SummerSlam '99 was held from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Target Center, where Austin faced So Cold Steve Austin, the champion, defended the title against Mankind and Triple H in a triple threat match. And the special guest referee, because it was in Minnesota, was Jesse the Mind Ventura. Yes, Governor Jesse the Mind Ventura. And of course, Austin won. That was a great one. SummerSlam 2000 was from the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Rock. It was a triple threat match. It was The Rock versus Kurt Angle versus Triple H. Then in SummerSlam 2001, that's when the WCW invaded WWE. So that was from the Compaq Center in San Jose. That was Booker T against The Rock for the WCW Championship, which became the World Heavyweight Championship. He went to the Nassau Coliseum in 2002, where The Rock put the title on the line against Brock Lesnar. And in 2003, the Elimination Chamber match happened at SummerSlam from the American West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. Where Triple H, it was Elimination Chamber, and the participants were Triple H, Chris Jericho, Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, and Shawn Michaels. The SummerSlam emanated from Canada for the first time, from the Air Canada Centre on August 15, 2004, in Toronto, where Chris Benoit defended the WWF Championship against Randy Orton. And this one, which involves Hulk Hogan, in 2005 from the MCI Center in Washington, the main event was Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels after Shawn Michaels super kicked Hulk Hogan, and that led to that short feud. In 2006, it was from the TD Bank Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Edge defended the title against John Cena, and so on and so forth. There was a Hell in a Cell match in 2008, where Edge defended the title against The Undertaker. That was from Conseco Field in Indianapolis. And so there was a whole bunch of other SummerSlams. And we fast forward to this one where it was from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Um, 2 nights, as we saw a few weeks ago. It was Gunther. CM Punk defeated Gunther for the championship, and then Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank and won the title. And Cody Rhodes defeated John Cena in a street fight to regain the undisputed WWE Championship. That was from, again, East Rutherford, New Jersey, but this time in MetLife Stadium. Now, the next two SummerSlams, the one in 2026, which will be August 1st and 2nd, 2026, will hail from the U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then in 2007, but it's not 2027 rather, and it's not confirmed, it'll be from the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's the SmackDown report for today. Again, we'll keep you updated on this Hulk Hogan situation, and as we go along and see what happens. So don't forget to tune in next week for another edition of the SmackDown Stew report right here on the SmackDown Stew YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and to like the YouTube channel. Thanks to the Meet Me, my Meet Me group for coming into the stream. So we're going to end things here on YouTube, but Meet Me, my stream will be open and we can come and chat, have a box party. So again, on YouTube, this is SmackDown Stew saying ciao for now.